Okay, folks, thank you so much. Definitely excited about today's webinar. We've got a jam-packed session for you. We're going to keep it on time. I know everyone's got a busy day, so we'll get right to it. The first thing I want to do, let's have some fun right off the bat here. I'm about to show everybody a trivia question, and the first person to reply with the correct answer in the chat is going to win a $50 gift card to Amazon. All right, so let's get started and have some fun. We'll do introductions in just a second, and here we go. According to a QuickBooks Intuit post that recently came out, they listed 8 primary reasons why small businesses fail. Which reason is missing from the list? So we've got flaws in entrepreneurial thinking, poor planning, lack of funding, choosing a poor location, hiring the wrong people, underestimating the competition, or believing you can do everything yourself. What's missing from this list? So I'll give everyone a quick second here to reply, and we will award somebody a $50 gift card. Okay, and we have a winner. Congratulations to Pat Brucker. Hopefully I'm saying that name correctly. You are correct. The answer is advertising and marketing. So one of the leading factors or reasons why small businesses fail is they don't have effective marketing. So congratulations. You just won a $50 Amazon gift card, and I'm going to email you after the webinar with your prize. So congrats. So let's use that as a segue. Today we're going to talk about marketing, specifically how to use highly targeted direct mail to drive sales and growth at your business. And to do that, we're going to be joined by 2 experts in this area. I'm going to introduce Wendy Urquhart. Wendy is Taradel's VP of Business Development. She has 20 years of strategic account management experience. She advises some of the biggest brands in the world on their own direct mail strategy and the technologies that they use. So she really works with some incredible household names that everybody knows. And she's got relationships with people in virtually every industry, medical, advertising, retail, you name it. So Wendy, if you're there, can you say hello?
Hi everyone, great to be here this afternoon and looking forward to a great webinar.
Absolutely. And Wendy's going to pick up here in just a minute as we talk about direct mail. But I'd also like to introduce Trish Gibbs. Trish is really a smart and talented individual. I've worked with her before personally, and she is the former director of brand strategy for some big companies, Snag-a-Job, who is one of the fastest growing providers of job opportunities in the hourly space, and also Capital One. Everyone knows who Capital One is, with credit cards and everything, and she's done a ton of work, with branding with these great companies. In addition to her 20 years of brand strategy and sales enablement, she's done some really cool campaigns. She helped launch Capital One's direct mail acquisition strategy, and also their online efforts as part of the NCAA college sports campaigns that they run. So that's a huge deal, a lot of national and regional exposure. She's been a big part of those campaigns in the past. And more recently, her work in helping Snag-a-Job grow and become a very highly visible company that's in the news all the time has helped them secure $100 million in investment just this past year in 2016. Trish, can you hear us?
I can. Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me, and I'm very excited to be a part of the conversation today.
Okay, great. Welcome, Trish. And myself, I'm Chris Barr. A lot of you guys probably get my emails, and probably a bunch of you have worked with me before. I've been at Taradel since 2006. I'm the director of marketing here. I've really helped Taradel grow from really a startup to now we're a 9-time Inc. 5000 company with over $18 million in revenue. So it's been a wild ride. We're a very fast-growing company, and through that process, we've really, I've learned and understand the challenges facing a small business. I've also helped to establish EveryDoorDirectMail.com. It's the biggest website and provider for every door direct mail marketing services. We've now mailed over 100 million mailers, and most of that is with small business owners. And through this experience, I've personally worked with thousands of small business owners, a lot in the restaurant, landscaping, and medical space, along with plenty of other industries. So I'm really excited about this. I love small business owners and really anybody in the SMB space. So I think this is going to be a very informative and exciting webinar. So let's kick things off. Let's talk quickly about the agenda. We just did the welcome. Wendy's going to pick it up here in a second and give us a quick intro to direct mail. We're not going to get stuck in any boring details. We're just going to kind of keep this thing moving here. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about direct mail in the digital age. Everyone's talking about Facebook and social media, Google, but there's really I think a missed opportunity in direct mail for so many businesses. Trish, with all of her expertise, she's going to lead us through planning to be successful. What does it take to make a great direct mail campaign? What type of things should you be looking for? How do you, get everything together and launch successfully? So she's going to give us a ton of insight into that. Wendy will tell us a little bit more about the best ways or the most popular ways that businesses can use direct mail. I will then walk everybody through an example postcard design. So if you don't know what a good direct mail piece looks like or how it should be formatted, don't worry, we're going to cover that too. You'll know exactly what the best practices are so that you can apply it for your needs. And then we're going to talk about response rates and return on investment. One of the biggest questions and most frequently asked questions that we get is, okay, I want to try direct mail, but what are the response rates? What kind of return on my investment can I expect? What's reasonable? So we're going to dive into that as well. And then we're going to wrap up the webinar with a live demo. I'm going to show you exactly how to target the right prospects for your business and launch an end-to-end, completely turnkey direct mail campaign online. It's super easy to do, and everybody will walk away from this webinar with the ability to do that. And then after that, if we have a few minutes left, we are going to open it up to a Q&A session so everybody can kind of get involved, and we'll personally answer all of your questions. All right? So let's get started. Wendy, if you want to pick it up here and talk about direct mail.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Chris. So again, 30,000-foot overview. We're not going to go into crazy details here, but direct mail is the delivery of an advertisement to recipients via mail. It's also often referred to as marketing mail and includes a variety of formats, everything from postcards to coupon envelopes to takeout menus, and really all the ones that you see on the list here and even more. So with so many options that are available, there's really a type of direct mail for essentially any business, whether you're a realtor, medical practice, a restaurant, tax professional, service provider, retailers, really that list goes on and on.
Okay, great. And let's talk a little bit about direct mail in the digital age. So today, as we all know, the advertising landscape has changed. Again, you've got Twitter, you've got blogs, you've got YouTube, Facebook, everything. So advertisements are now flashing before our eyes at blazing speeds. You can't go anywhere online without seeing an ad or getting a brand impression or something like that. So it's really just complete saturation. And no matter what we're doing, if we're searching for something, if we're streaming a live video, if we're reading a news article, anything we do, we're basically bombarded by advertisements. The average consumer, according to a recent study, receives between 4,000 and 10,000 advertising and brand exposures per day. So that's just a tremendous amount. People are pretty much overloaded. Consumers, everywhere they go, they're exposed to these ads and these brands, and it really kind of dilutes the impact of each one. And Americans are spending approximately 2 hours per day now on social media. It sounds like a lot, but I don't think that's really a surprising number. I mean, people really live on Facebook and Twitter Instagram, so there's a tremendous amount of time spent there. And again, the whole time they're on there, they're exposed not only to the content they're looking for, but all the ads and kind of embedded marketing strategy that's built into those platforms. So by way of that, consumers have developed a sort of mental wall where they kind of tune out ads. A lot of them are using, pop-up blockers, ad blockers. So, people have kind of built in these ways where they kind of tune that stuff out, and it doesn't make the impact, like it used to. And even the ones that are effective, there's so much competition built in that even that effectiveness is somewhat diminished. So there are three primary concerns in the digital landscape if you're an advertiser. One is trust. A lot of the analytic data has been called into question. Facebook had recently announced, and this was covered by the Wall Street Journal, that they had overestimated by up to 80% the average time people spent watching video ads on their platform. So that's huge, because if you're a big advertiser, especially allocating millions of dollars towards sponsored content or something like that, if the average time people are spending watching those video ads are estimated by or overestimated by 80%, that has huge ramifications. And then there's a lot of advertisers in the pay-per-click space that wonder about, click fraud, or are they really getting the return they think they are? So this whole analytics and reporting side of digital media, while it's pretty darn good, there's a lot still to, a lot of concerns still built into that, and it still needs to mature quite a bit. The other thing is quality. There's so much clickbait out there. I found this little illustration that I think does a good job. I mean, no matter where you go, you're not sure if you're clicking on something that is fact or fiction. And for advertisers, that's another big concern because the trust and authority built into a marketing channel, whether it be a newspaper or television, a lot of that is dependent upon the quality of the actual advertising medium. So if people don't trust what they're seeing or the medium itself inherently, then that can hurt the impact of an advertisement, or even make an advertiser decide not to advertise there in the first place. So, if the quality is kind of critical, a critical component of advertising. And then, of course, there's saturation. There's just so many ads out there, no matter where you go, that with more ads, they're generating less ROI. So as the digital universe, which is rife with uncertainty and struggling to find maturity, continues to evolve, advertisers are turning back to a timeless, if unlikely, savior that they know works. So there's been a lot of coverage in the media lately about this. A lot of numbers have been released that show direct mail is still the top driver of sales. Everything from Forbes to the Huffington Post has run articles recently about this. So it's really making a comeback. It's almost like, people still love vinyl records. It works. There's something about it that just connects with people. And direct mail is much the same. When you put a physical offer into somebody's hands that is delivered through the U.S. Postal Service, it has an impact. People are forced to deal with it, and whether they, redeem an offer right then or not, they have to consider it and make a decision. And that gets you a one-to-one impression on that consumer. So it's incredibly powerful. So, Trish, if you'll talk to us a little bit about, with this information, how do you plan a great campaign? If you can kind of go through this with us at a top level, that would be awesome.
Absolutely. Thanks, Chris. So in my work, especially at Capital One, which is really virtually a direct mail powerhouse in their credit card acquisition space and also in their customer engagement space, I had a lot of experience. And then I also work with a lot of small businesses. I do a lot of marketing consulting with small businesses and help them grow. And planning is the core foundation as you should start your marketing success, especially as it relates to your direct mail marketing. So three main things to keep in mind. One is competitive research, and an effective tool that I've used quite often is to do a SWOT analysis. So that SWOT analysis, by going out, looking at your competitors, looking at the core benefits that they are promoting, and really diving in through their websites, through collecting materials from them, you can do a solid assessment of strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And all of that should be relative for your business, relative to your competitors' businesses. The other thing is messaging and positioning. So understanding what your core value proposition is, or your core selling position, and how that is differentiated for your brand versus the competitors. So positioning your brand against the competitors in the marketplace and really having a solid foundation of that message and those differentiators is a key piece. And then the third thing is the sales enablement tools. So it's important to equip all of your client-facing employees, all your sales team, with a couple of things. They should understand that SWOT analysis. They should understand how your product or service that you're selling is differentiated from the competitive landscape. And then also, they should be able to speak from, they can put it in their own words, but speak from somewhat of a script. So I am a big believer in and have used effectively many times what I call a message hierarchy. So understanding the core benefits that your customers are looking for when they buy your product or service, so that your sales team can speak in that order about those benefits. The other thing I'll mention here is everything that you should do as you start to think about your goals for your campaign, you should map out how you're going to measure those and what success looks like. And a lot of that can also be done through a test and learn strategy. So everything that you're doing, it may or may not work. You're going to have to test and learn and iterate and improve. So those are the main pieces of the campaign prep. Unpacking that a little bit, especially when we were talking about the benefits that you're seeing from your competitors, this is just a nice tool that I like to use. So on this chart, along the left, you'll see a list of benefits. So one of the, I did a project actually where I was looking at the types of benefits that the different competitors in this marketplace were touting on their website and in their marketing materials. So I found they were talking about being targeted and relevant, things like savings, things about how their products could drive results and ROI. So everything there on that left is a list of the benefits. And then you'll see the company names across the top. So company name would be, company one would be your company, and you would fill in how are you talking about and positioning your product and service. And then again, the other companies 2 through 7, you'll see the check marks where those companies were positioning their products and services. And so now you start to see, where's that white space? What are some things, some key things that maybe I can talk about that are not owned by anyone else? And then what are some of the table stakes? Everyone was talking about being targeted and relevant. So I really need to talk about that, because that's just basically the cost of doing business in a sense with this chart. So hopefully you'll find that as a nice tool to use. Now, we also talk about the big 3, which everyone's probably heard this big 3 rule. Reach the right prospect at the right time with the right offer. And at Capital One, we really lived by that rule, and the way that we really tested and learned into how to find the right prospects at the right time with the right offer. So we did a lot of marketing, we did a lot of measurement, and so that's a key piece. And I'm going to go through each of those pieces in the next 3 slides. So talking about the right prospects, even the best advertisements can fail to generate results if they don't reach the right prospects. So that competitive research piece that we talked about, as well as analyzing all of your customer data, what you can start to formulate from doing that is a persona. So for example, in a small business, you might be targeting women who have children, and maybe they are unemployed and outside of the home. They are a certain age group, perhaps they have a high household income. That might be persona A. So you'll have some demographic pieces, you'll even have some psychographic data that you can add to that. And then you might have a second persona, which is working women. So maybe some similar ages and household income, but again, that working mom, depending if you're promoting a daycare, for example, or a children's learning center, you might have different, those two segments, those two personas are going to have different needs. They're going to be looking for different things from that service. And so once you define those personas, you can start to grow lookalike audiences to find them. Timing is the other big piece that we're talking about. So understanding, is your business seasonal? Can you anticipate demand? Are your competitors on vacation? Are they out to lunch? But timing is everything. It doesn't matter, as the slide says, if you're a comedian or an advertiser. So think about all the times, those natural times of the buying cycle when your customers might be ready to buy, and then also about being top of mind. One interesting thing with timing, so again, pulling from my Capital One direct mail experience, we would mail up to 5 times a month to the same audience, which some of you might be really dying a little bit inside by that because you've received the Capital One ads. But again, the wear out was so extensive, and we had such strong ability to measure the effectiveness that it did not hit the point of diminishing returns until we mailed to someone 5 times. So obviously that would be up to you and your budget and what you're trying to accomplish, but it's something interesting to note. And building out that marketing calendar will also help you determine when should you be in market with your campaign. The third thing is the right offer. So we talked about the persona A of the stay-at-home mom perhaps, and the persona B of the working mom. They're going to have 2 different needs. So when you're going out, you need to make sure that offer aligns with the need. So a promotion or an offer that might appeal to persona 1 might be a baby and me class, and that mom wants to go and spend time with the baby in the class. But persona B, that's probably not going to work for. However, that persona B might be interested in after-school care, for example. So really thinking about the offer that you're putting forth. The word free, as we mentioned, is still the most powerful word in marketing. And then also making it very easy to redeem. I have found through years of working on many businesses that segmentation piece and getting these big 3 right is where the power comes in. It's a very powerful way to plan your marketing, and that's when you really start to see your growth and your revenue and results pick up, when you can do that segmentation and then get into the right person at the right time with the right offer.
Okay, great. Thank you, Trish. And by the way, your marketing work at Capital One definitely made a difference. I don't know if it was you or Samuel L. Jackson, but someone got me to get a Quicksilver card. So
nice to hear.
So, you guys at Capital One, very powerful marketing, and I think the target approach makes all the difference. Okay, great. Wendy, do you want to talk a little bit about the 10 most popular uses for direct mail?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, now that we know who is using direct mail and what we need to be prepared before starting our campaign, here are 10 popular ways that businesses use direct mail, and we'll give you some examples of which businesses use each. First and foremost, direct mail is often used for new customer acquisition, and all different types of businesses use direct mail to find new customers, whether it's to try to drive them to a brick-and-mortar location or a web-based business. Finding new customers ultimately help them increase sales and revenue. So the pool of businesses that use direct mail or should use direct mail to find new customers is quite large. Many businesses also use it to drive repeat business, to win customers back or just remind them of their product and service if they haven't been there in a while. Retailers, schools often use direct mail to promote grand openings. Realtors and schools often use it to promote open houses and to find new families or potential buyers. Holiday events or limited time offers are often promoted with direct mail. Just think of all the mail you received in December, right? Local governments, hospitals, and churches use direct mail to promote community awareness or community events. Maybe a part of town will be closed for an upcoming race, and they want people to know which streets to avoid during a given time. Maybe a hospital is opening a new wing, and they want to let people know that they can support patients with a specific need. Or maybe a church is opening, and they're looking to welcome the community to join their parish. All of those are great ways to use direct mail. Now, sometimes businesses use direct mail not to promote a specific offer or call to action, but rather to build their own personal brand as the local expert in their space. We see this often with service providers, with realtors in particular, who are trying to share market trends, so that when a prospect eventually has a need for the service they offer, they'll be the one that comes to mind. And last, we'll round it up here with direct mail can be used to develop new markets, especially for emerging businesses with limited brand awareness, or even established brands who are simply new to a certain area. And last, it can be used to ward off competitors. So if you have a competing business that just opened in your area, you can send out a direct mail piece that outlines what you do, why you're the best in the market, and of course, give them a compelling offer to incent them to pick up the phone and call, to visit your website, or to come into your retail location.
Okay, great. Thanks, Wendy. Yeah, I think number 8 especially is interesting to me. The way that local businesses, or what popped in my mind is a medical practice. There's a doctor in our area that basically just puts out like a newsletter every month. And, like during back to school time, he's talking about, how to keep your kids healthy. I know he sent me one that talked about, getting a flu shot. I think it was like in October. So I can see how realtors or really anybody, especially in the service industry, I can see how that could be really powerful. All right. So let's talk about, how do you design a great offer? So Trish and Wendy have kind of gone over the reasons, why planning and making sure you've got, a strong call to action and targeted audience, why all of that stuff is so critical. So what happens when it's time to put it all down on paper, right? So here I have outlined a postcard design that is based on all of the best practices and experience that we have in working with thousands of different businesses. So it's a very simple format. It almost looks like a website landing page if you think about it. There's a few elements that you want to be sure to include. One is the headline. The second somebody looks at your offer, that headline in just a few short words should tell them exactly what the benefit is. So it could be, free consultation, or finally relieve back pain. It could be almost anything, but it needs to instantly communicate who you are and what this is about. The other thing I strongly recommend that you include is some type of photo, or what I call a product hero shot. So a hero shot would be something like, your product in action, or, a very professional photo of your product. Think of like a Dyson vacuum, right? It's always got like a really clean, cool-looking photo. But it can also be an image that communicates what you're all about. So if you're a realtor and you want to attract buyers or sellers, you may want to feature an image of a home that would be ideal to your target audience, right? Or if you're a medical practice specializing in care for seniors, you might want to show an image of seniors, playing golf or whatever you want to feature. So always think about not only what image should you include, but what does that image communicate? So if somebody has no idea who you are and they receive your direct mail offer, that image needs to instantly communicate a lot of information and do so effectively. The sales copy is also critical, and this is where most people make mistakes. Sales copy should be absolutely benefit driven, okay? So if you're getting too wordy, or it goes on and on and on, take a step back, look at it, and cut out everything that is not mission critical. Sales copy should be really just focused on benefits or the big picture. If you buy this, you will get this. And then you can list out benefits using bullet points to help draw out certain attention to keywords. That could be, lifetime guarantee, #1 New York Times bestseller, whatever you want to include that drives home some kind of benefit or supports that, that core message. Another thing you should include where possible is some type of testimonial or authority indicator. So, if you're a medical practice or a realtor, it's always great to include, some words from happy customers or previous clients or patients. But if you don't have any testimonials, one thing you could do is say, as seen in, Richmond Magazine or, some type of highly recognizable brand that has featured your business or your service. So there's a lot of ways to be creative with that. At the very least, if you've got, a good rating with the BBB or some other kind of consumer group that is trusted, you can include that there. So these are all things that will help just confirm that you're legit and, people should pay attention. And now the two most important things are the offer and the redemption method. So your offer is everything. If you send out a postcard that says, free pizza, you're going to get a massive response because that offer is so attractive. If you do an offer that says, buy one pizza, get one free, well, that's still a really good offer, but it's not quite as cool as, or a free pizza offer. So think about your offer in those terms. The more you give, the more of a hit your return is going to take. But there's a lot of ways to be creative with that to create a very high perceived value among the recipients and, get a great response. If you do very generic things like, free consultation or, 20% off, those are kind of more difficult offers for recipients to quantify. So 20% off, that could be 5 cents or $100. It depends what you're selling and what the value is. So from my experience, if you're going to do a discount offer, it's best to spell out what that discount is. So instead of 20% off, $25, you might just want to do a coupon that's $5 off any $25 order. That's easier for your average person, especially when they're just glancing through the direct mail, to say, okay, hey, this is going to save me $5. You basically do the math for them. Okay, so I think that's a very effective strategy that you can use. Once you've got a great offer, tell the person or that targeted prospect exactly what you want them to do. Now, I've got a simple way of doing this that has worked for me personally and for all of the clients that I've worked with, where the redemption method is the same as the delivery vehicle. And what that basically translates to is if you're reaching them offline, have them connect with you offline to redeem the offer. So, here's an offer, call me, and that's all offline. But if you're doing something on the web, it's a lot easier for somebody to click, right? So, click here, fill out this form, and get your free, pizza, whatever you want, to do. So if you're marketing offline, make the response offline. If you're marketing online, make the response online. So I think those are some good kind of fundamentals to stick to. Another thing that I think is always a good idea is to include some type of limited time or time-sensitive message. People are much more likely to take action quickly if they know that something expires soon. Almost every coupon you've ever seen has an expiration date on it, and that's why. The advertiser wants to get your business during a certain time frame when they think you're most likely to transact. So if you can do that, build in some type of time-sensitive offer or limited time only, your quantity is limited, some type of message that's going to drive a more immediate action. If you do all these things together, you will be in a really good spot to get a great response if the other, parts of the planning phase, like, the timing, the audience, are set up correctly. So when in doubt, stick to this kind of formula. This is a great template for a postcard to send out if you've never done direct mail before or if you want to try it again. So before we move ahead to talking about response rates, I just want to I threw this in here at the last minute. I think it'll be really helpful. Everybody registered for this webinar today, I'm going to send you a free copy of the direct mail checklist that we've put together. So don't worry if you haven't taken notes today or anything like that. This checklist kind of goes through all the planning, the creative, the response tracking, and all the other considerations you want to make sure that you look at when creating a direct mail campaign. So everybody will get an email with a link to download this checklist after the webinar today. Okay, so let's start talking about response rates. This is one of the hot topics with direct mail. What kind of response will I get? Well, to kind of set that up, last year there was a really incredible study completed by a neuromarketing firm. This is a developing field where they basically hook volunteers up to EEGs and different kind of body metric technology, and they see what kind of reactions people have to different types of advertisements. So in this study, what they did is they compared the response people had to an offer on direct mail and then the exact same offer but in a digital format, like a display ad online. And there were two major results that came from this. First, direct mail required 21% less cognitive effort to process than digital. So in other words, people just get direct mail much more easily. There's something about the way we're wired for physical interaction that when somebody holds something in their hand and they can touch it, they can look at it, they can experience it, for lack of a better word, it just has a more profound impact, and it also requires the brain a lot less work to understand it. So this is still developing, but that was one of the major findings. It's just easier for people to get it. And if you're a new business or a local business that needs to kind of cut through and get your message across to consumers, it's a lot easier to do that using direct mail than some other channels. The other thing is it showed that the motivation to cognitive load ratio, direct mail scored way higher than digital. And what that means is that in these types of tests, any score greater than 1 is a strong indicator that it will have in-market success. So when people were looking at these different ads and comparing them on direct mail to digital, the results were much more profound when they were looking at the direct mail versions. So all of this stuff kind of shows that it's easier for people to get it when they're looking at your message, and they're much more likely to take action based off of a printed offer as opposed to a digital offer. And that could just be because it's a one-to-one experience with direct mail, whereas digital, there's always like you're always chasing that next click, right? What do I click on next? What do I look at next? But direct mail, when you've got something in your hand, whether it's a book or a direct mail offer, you kind of just stop for a second, and there's no click. You're not getting a message from your friend on Facebook. It's just one-to-one. Hey, this is the offer. Do I want this or not? So I think that is really something a lot of people overlook. It's just silence, which is a good thing if you're trying to get across a message. Okay, so here are the actual direct mail response rates that were published by the DMA in their most recent report. So acquisition direct mail, this is when you're going after new customers. With direct mail, you're going to average somewhere between 1 and 2.5% response, and that's across the board. So some industries, like a free pizza offer, is going to get a heck of a lot more than 2.5% response rate. But if you take every industry, insurance, real estate, medical, everything, and you put it together, these are the averages, okay? So again, these are averages, but if you have a great offer and you're targeting a highly specific audience, your rates can go much higher than that, okay? Now, if you're using direct mail to a house list, so in other words, if you have an existing list of prospects or customers for your business or your organization, if you direct mail to them, your response rates are going to go way up. The average in that case is 3.7%. And if you market to your house list with an oversized mailer, such as like a giant postcard, something bigger than like a little 4x6 postcard, you're going to get up to a 4.25% average response rate. So these are the benchmarks. The other big one that I highlighted here is that on average, across everything, direct mail offers a 15 to 17% ROI. So that is absolutely huge. On average, if you use direct mail, you will benefit. There will be a positive return. Okay? So I think those are the key response rates that we can confidently say, hey, this is kind of what to expect. This is within the normal range. Again, it all comes down to the offer, the audience, and those factors like competition, the outside factors that can play a role in your response rate. On average, this was also interesting, on average there's about 3 billion coupons redeemed every year from direct mail advertising. So there's no shortage of demand. Coupons are back in a big way. There's been TV shows recently about extreme couponers. So it's kind of in style to be financially responsible and get the best deal where you can. And certainly there's a lot of demand for online promo codes too. But direct mail is very strong in this area. People like to have that physical coupon they can hold and take to the store locally and say, here's the coupon, I want this deal. Unless you're shopping online, that's the way that consumers want to receive their offers. And then, in the case for direct mail versus digital, this was another big point that was unearthed during another study in that neuroscience research I mentioned earlier. The consumers who received the offer in the direct mail format could recall the brand and the message 75% of the time. So 3 out of every 4 people that see your direct mail piece will remember your brand or your offer. But if you do that same offer on a digital format like a display ad, those same people are only going to recall you less than half the time. So I think that's really important, and that I think speaks more to the impact that physical interaction and that kind of quick space just to think and absorb something, that people have when they look at direct mail. All right. Okay, so that's your kind of baseline response rates and what to expect there. Hopefully that was helpful. So now we're going to get into a really fun part of this webinar. I'm going to switch over to the web and show you exactly how to do 2 things. First, we're going to build a highly targeted mailing list. And next, after we do that, I'm going to show you how to upload your own existing customer list or prospect list to create a campaign from there. All right. So let's get started. What you want to do, and this is our site. There's certainly other places you can go, but I'm going to demo our site for you today. If you go to directmail.taradel.com, you can start by entering your business address, or if you want to just do zip codes, you can enter those in. So I'll go ahead and do that. I'm going to start with 2 different zip codes here. You plug those in and you'll see that instantly it gives you a count of how many prospects are in that area. You hit go to step 2, and this is where you start picking out all the demographic and kind of really honing in on your target prospect. So under the basic tab, you can see there's things like age, income, presence of children. So let's just pick some common ones here, maybe 25 to 65. You'll notice that as I make these selections, the persona here will change. Income, let's do 75,000 and up. And children, male or female doesn't matter. And let's do homeowners that are married. Okay, maybe we're going after families with children because we're a pediatrician. You can also do things like housing and finance. So if you want them to be in a home worth 200,000 and up, maybe they have a net worth of, I don't know, 100,000 up. You can really fine-tune these different options here to target the right prospects. Now, you can also do things like interest and hobbies. So let's say, if you're a pediatrician, maybe you want people that are into health, maybe outdoor recreation, maybe people that, are really all about, living a healthy, active lifestyle. So you can choose whichever ones you want that fit your needs, but this is a really good way to, after you do the basic targeting, get more refined. And there's also different options like political. You can even target people by, what month they were born in to send them like birthday postcards, stuff like that. So once you make your selections here, all you have to do is name your list. So I'll just name this one demo list for today's purpose. And one other thing I'll show you before we proceed is that if you want to get a quick look at who these people are, there's a really cool feature called Get a Free Sample. And if you click on that, it will actually show you 15 to 20 names and addresses. So if you know your area, you can kind of eyeball those and say, okay, yeah, this looks right. So I definitely recognize some of these streets. This is in my neighborhood here. So, okay. So you can do all that. When you name your list, you hit Save and Continue. And from there, you've got two options. You can just purchase a mailing list. So if you want this list of people and you want to use it later, you can just purchase the mailing list and download it instantly. But if you want to launch a complete direct mail campaign for your business, you would choose option 2, which is get the mailing list and launch a personalized mail campaign. If you choose this option, this includes everything: the mailing list, design options, all of the printing, the labeling, even the postage and delivery. So it's just done. It's done for you. So it's super simple. So let's go ahead and choose that one, and then you'll see you've got 3 different product options. You can do a small postcard, medium-sized postcard, or a big postcard. For today's example, let's just choose the middle-sized one, okay? And here you can basically just start choosing your design and print options. You see that it automatically carries over the right number of prospects that we targeted earlier. If you want extra copies sent to your office, you can do that. Then choose an address. And then for design options, there's 3 options. You can upload your own design. So if you know Photoshop or Illustrator and you've got PDF files, just click here and upload them. If you want a free template, we've got thousands of free templates built in here. So let me see if I type in kids. Yeah, there's some stuff for kids. So you can look at all the different options, and there's stuff for basically every industry here. So you find one that you like and you hit select template. You get a message that a designer will contact you to fully customize it for you, and you continue. The other option is if you don't find a template you like and you just want to have a professional do it for you from scratch, for $100 or so, you can work with a designer who will basically take your idea and make it all happen, totally from scratch. Okay? So we'll go ahead and proceed with the template, and you can see as you make selections, you get kind of a preview of your whole campaign. Right now I'm targeting 4,500 plus. It's only 69 cents each, including postage and everything. And then here's my estimated turnaround time. So it really just does everything for you. There's also some additional options. If you want to mail to each person more than once, you can do that. You can split up how your mail goes out. If you want to do kind of half the pieces now and half 2 weeks from now, you can do that. And if you have a time-sensitive campaign, you can also schedule the mail to deliver during a certain time frame. So, if you've got, Black Friday coming up or the Super Bowl or, a big event in the spring or something like that, you can easily choose when you want them to deliver. All right. And then from here, you would just hit proceed to checkout, review your order. So there's all the information. There's the template. Here's the zip codes I targeted. Here's a recap of all the demographics we selected and a price. And from here, it's just like anything else. You plug in your credit card info. When you're done, you hit complete your order. And that's it. Your direct mail campaign is on the way into the hands of prospective customers. It's 100% done for you. So that's how you target a completely new audience for your business and get some marketing out the door. But that's really the acquisition side of things. What about the retention side, right? So if you've got a list of prospects, or even better, a list of existing customers, it's just as important to send them direct mail offers as well to keep their business or to get them to buy more frequently. So if you want to do that, under the personalized mail tab here, you can either build a list or upload your list. So let's run through this real quick. If you click upload your list, you'll see there's an upload tool here. And let me go ahead and do one real quick. Here's a customer mailing list. And this is just going to have information, like name, address, city, state, zip, just the basic information. And I'm going to click to upload that. All right, and let's see if I can get this. Maybe I have to drop it in here. Oh, it did it. My bad. I was rushing. Okay, so I've uploaded a list, and then it's going to ask me if the fields aren't already mapped to do that. So here you can see full name. Here it's pulling the address. So this is going to be address. The city, the state, and the zip code. So really simple. It basically looks at your Excel spreadsheet and says, okay, let's make sure these are the right fields in the right place. Once you do that, you hit Process My List, okay? And the system is going to do all the work for you. Okay, it's just going to take a moment here. I think I had, I don't know, 1,500 names on there, or 1,250, I should say. So I uploaded my list. Out of 1,251 total addresses, it says that 1,209 of them are verified, and there were 42 errors. So maybe these people had incomplete information or something like that, but we can't mail to them. So you can view those or download a report on this, so you can maybe fix that later. But these 1,209 we can go ahead and mail to. So in this case, we would just name our list and hit Save and Continue, and then you would just go through that exact same campaign building process that we just did. So that is super easy. It kind of does all the work for you, and that lets you send direct mail to your existing customers or prospects just as easily as you can do it to new targets or prospects. All right? So that was pretty quick. We're running short on time here, and I can appreciate the need to get out of here on schedule. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and open it up to questions. We'll take a few, and then I'll tell you what, any questions that we don't have time to answer on the webinar here, we'll take them offline. We'll answer every single one and email that to everybody so that you all get a chance to see what everyone's asking and what kind of feedback we give. So if you have any questions, go to the chat on the GoToWebinar console and go ahead and start asking. And I'll give people a minute here to get their questions in, and we'll go from there. Wendy, do you have anything to add regarding building a campaign, using that website tool? Is there any insider advice you would give to the folks on the webinar today?
Yeah, great question, Chris. I mean, one of the things that we talk about with our business customers is to really be proactive when it comes to your marketing, not reactive. And if you have events that are coming up or you have specific products that you're looking to promote during a certain time, work on them in advance, because scrambling does not typically lead to success. And we want to make sure that you have enough time to build your campaign to make sure you're targeting the right audience, because direct mail is an investment, and it's an investment that can certainly generate great results with the right planning. So I would really say, make sure that if you want to reach out to, a company like Taradel, that you have the time to really have the conversation so that you are getting your pieces delivered when you want them to.
Yeah, good point. I think a lot of us are guilty of, doing things last minute, but to really do a great job with direct mail, you have to plan it out. And really with anything, it takes planning, and you've got to have a kind of a schedule and a calendar that you operate by. Here's a really good question. How many times do you recommend mailing to my prospects? So Wendy, maybe you can take this one too. How many times should an advertiser mail out to each prospect at a minimum?
It's a great question. So it goes back to, I think, the type of business and what they're looking to promote. So for example, we work with a lot of medical practices, and a lot of the folks that we work with, we're working with some of the biggest agencies, in the U.S. on these types of campaigns. And we'll often see them send the same creative to the same audience at least twice, if not 3 times, and then switch up the creative. So for example, you could set a marketing calendar where you're sending something out every month. You pick your hottest prospects, and then you decide if you want to hit these folks multiple times with the same creative or if you want to mix it up. Now, alternatively, let's say that you have an open house coming up. Well, in that case, let's say it's an open house that's coming up at, the end of February, and you really want to generate a lot of traffic at that open house. You might want to send out either, one blast or ideally twice, because maybe the first time it came in, it didn't resonate with the person, but it was a second time. One of the things that we really would discourage you to do is to try direct mail once and make a decision on its effectiveness based on that one drop, because with any sort of marketing, you have to send your message out and your offer out more than once before people are potentially going to react, unless it's something like a pizza, right, where if somebody comes home and they see a pizza menu when they're hungry, everybody likes pizza, and it's at a price point that's very easy to make a decision. Most types of businesses, you have to send your offer or your message out multiple times. So I would like to say at least 2, if not 3, and obviously more depending on your budget.
Yeah, great stuff. I agree with all of that too. I think it really does depend, and you've got to stick with it. One thing that's for sure in almost every industry is that it's not a one and done proposition. You've got to make multiple impressions, and really direct mail should be a part of a integrated campaign strategy. So if you're a small business, you need that social media presence. You need to do things with local events and charities. You've got to get the word out and make multiple impressions on your target audience through a lot of different channels. Direct mail should be a core part of that, but it's important to constantly make additional impressions. So I think that's one thing that everybody should do is have an integrated type of approach to their marketing. Another good question we got is, how do you keep improving? So I'll take this one. So what I typically do is I'm a big fan of split testing. So if you've got an offer that has been working for your business for years, maybe it's a special package deal or something that 6 out of 10 customers purchase from you. It's just kind of your bread and butter deal. Well, that's great. You kind of know what you're going to get out of that. So that's what I would consider a control offer. So with direct mail, what you should do is use that control offer initially and target the audience that you want to reach. Then the goal is, once you know what kind of response you get from that, make that a data point. And then what you want to do from there is split test different variations of that offer or different offers entirely. And you've got to do this somewhat scientifically. You don't want to change everything every time you do another direct mail offer. You want to change 1, maybe 2 elements at a time max. So if one offer is $9.99 for your product or service, maybe you do another one that is $8.99. And then you see, is the lift that you get from that more aggressive offer worth it? So you have to run the numbers and get these data points. Then you can do other things like, switching out an image or changing the headline. So you want to make sure that when you're testing, you develop a control first, which is your initial data point, and then you want to see, what can you do moving forward as you test multiple iterations of that offer to the same audience. And every time you beat the control, the winning variation becomes your new control. Okay? So the idea is never stop improving, right? And you can do this not only with direct mail, but on your website, maybe you have a landing page. You always want to be split testing against your control, because that's how you grow and how you know what is going to cause that growth, right? So if you test a million different things at the same time, you don't know, was it the offer or the headline or the image that created that change. But if you do things methodically, then you'll know exactly what people are looking at and what's driving them to either act or not act. Here's a message. Let me read this one real quick. So if you mail, let me see how to word this properly. So is there any benefit to mailing the same creative multiple times? I think that's what this person's asking. So Wendy, does it pay to send the same exact offer to the exact same person multiple times?
You know what, Chris, I go back to an example that we've been talking about a lot with folks lately as we're getting into tax season, right? So a lot of people are filing their returns, they're waiting to see if they're getting a refund, and they're often waiting, for that moment to make a buying decision. So if somebody receives, a postcard today for, new cabinet installation, or maybe for a new car, they might think about it, wow, I'm really in the market for that, and I want to buy something, but I need to wait until March when I'm going to get my tax return back. If they see a postcard again, same product, same service, from the same business, they could be in a better position to make that buying decision then. So we have folks who, on a regular basis, are sending out the same message. It gives consistency. In many cases, it shows that, they have a very special offer that they honor, on a regular basis. So we see it with some national brands and, again, with some of the biggest agencies where they do put out the same promotion.
Great, great. Okay, perfect. Well, folks, it is 3 o'clock, so we're a few minutes late here. This has been a fantastic webinar. Thank you all for attending. I think we had over 450 total business owners and advertisers registered today, so thank you so much. One thing I will mention is that we have recorded this webinar, so for anybody that didn't get to see this or is viewing it, or wants to view it again at a later time or share it with their colleagues, I'm going to post a recording of this webinar on the website, and I'll share that on our social media accounts for Taradel, and I'll send an email to everybody that attended today as well. So we will make that available. One last thing, if you have any more questions about this, if you go to directmail.taradel.com, you can get a lot of information right there off the site, and we also have an 800 number you can call to speak with an expert, or if you're more comfortable, you can just use, we have a live chat on the site, so if you just want to ask a quick question online, that's probably the easiest way. So anyway, we'll wrap this up. Thank you so much. Had a great time, and we'll talk to you next time.